Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast pop culture edition. Today we are going to be talking about the Barbie movie that has taken the world by storm, and we have the pop culture expert with us, Miss Chelsea Hepburn. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. I know on the last podcast, where we hinted that this would be the next one that you were going to do, and we are here. We're here to talk about the Barbie movie starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. And first off, right back, did you like the movie?
I loved it. It was so good.
What did you love about the movie?
Everything. That wasn't like a bad sound. It was like trying to pick a specific part. I liked it as a whole. I feel like it was deep without getting too deep. And the set design was flawless. Like the soundtrack was flawless. The casting was amazing. Greta can do no wrong. And it was just really well done.
Fair enough.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I really liked the movie. I liked the cast of the movie, and I liked everything going into the opening weekend. Obviously, Barbie and Oppenheimer, two completely different movies, and it
hmm
became a whole pop culture thing of seeing both in the same day. Like we talked about the last one, like dressing up for both these movies, and like both these movies as a whole, like was record breaking stuff. I mean, Barbie's opening weekend was $337 million. Oppenheimer's 175. If you put those two movies together, it's the fourth biggest overall weekend in the U.S. box office in history.
hmm
Only behind these movies you know so well. Number one, Avengers Endgame weekend. Number two, Avengers Infinity War weekend.
hmm
Number three, Star Wars Force Awakens. And then number four, Barbie. So,
Yeah.
and Barbie just
Didn't it just beat The Dark Knight?
Yep, it just beat the Dark Knight's record from '08 being the largest domestic movie Warner Brothers has ever had, which is crazy because that's record has stand since 2008. And
I was just gonna say, how do you feel about that?
well, I'm fine. I mean, records are
Meant to be
meant to be
broken.
broken. I think the only funny thing about that is obviously the Dark Knight director was Christopher Nolan, and
hmm
Christopher Nolan is the director of Oppenheimer, so it's just like Greta and Nolan things going on right now. And then obviously when we get to, well, I don't even know if there'll be Oscars because of like the strike and all that stuff.
Oh
But
yeah.
if it does happen, it'll be interesting to see because I think both those movies will have a lot of people nominated. I think the biggest thing too with Barbie made $1 billion, has made over $1 billion. First movie directed by a female, Greta, to make $1 billion. So that's
hmm
amazing. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling is their highest grossing movies ever. And it's just right now, I mean, it's probably going to be the biggest movie of the year. It's a
Oh, absolutely.
couple bucks short of Mario right now. But
It'll get there.
yeah, because Mario was at 1.36 and Barbie is at 1.03, and they keep making money. I mean,
It's
enough.
gonna continue to make
Yeah,
money.
it's and then another record it broke. I mean, like that first weekend, like the weekend and then the Monday, it had the most money ever
hmm
on a Monday, beating the Dark Knight record in '08. So it's been crazy. I mean,
That's fantastic. Did you dress up when you saw it?
no,
Same.
I went normal. I will say my experience was a little derailed because I had two people who sat next to me who did not have movie etiquette.
It's the worst.
Oh,
It's
we're
so
talking about
embarrassing.
answering phones, getting up to put phones on chargers, talking when people are telling them to shush. It
That's
was,
frustrating.
oh yeah. So, I was just focused on the movie, and then the end credit scene where I was just talking to you about off air, how Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice, the song came on. They started going crazy like they were at Saloon. Like, oh yeah, they were going wild. But there's also this movie, as good as it is, doesn't come without controversy. There's a lot of people. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this because got to talk about the quote unquote bad. there's a lot of people who say this movie
It's too
anti-men,
liberal.
super feminist, woke trash, leftist propaganda. It was funny. Ben Shapiro, he went the first week. His prediction was Barbie was going to fall off a cliff after week one. He was absolutely wrong. Still hasn't said anything about that. He called it woke trash and that he was going to burn all of his kids' Barbies at the home. Piers Morgan said if this was a reverse type movie and a man wrote this type of thing, then all the feminists would want him executed. So, what are your thoughts? Because there's a lot of now hate going on for this movie.
One, people need to grow up. Like, just across the board. Two, the Ben Shapiro thing. I can't even imagine being his kid and coming home, even if, like, because he went out and bought the dolls, right? Like, it wasn't his.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah. But, like, how traumatizing would it be to see your dad, like, the person that you look up to, throwing a fit over dolls and burning them? Like, in 20 years from now, those kids are going to be in therapy talking about it. And that is going to be a huge point. And then, like, how sad is it that you're getting that worked up over a doll?
Well, a lot of right-winged people. I mean, they call it right-winged people call it they're calling it woke trash, saying how it's basically a movie saying that if women were in charge, everything would be in total peace. If men weren't in charge, and the patriarchy and all of that jazz, and they just think that it's just woke trash.
What's wild to me is, like, clearly those people didn't pay that much attention because Barbie didn't invalidate what Ken was feeling. Like,
At the end of the movie.
at the end of the movie.
Spoilers in this.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Like, Ken was going through it, Barbie was going through it. When Barbie was talking to Ken about, like, everything, she did not invalidate his feelings. She recognized why he was feeling the way he was. And it was never a personal attack. It was just to get back to the status, not even status quo, because that can be taken as wrong, but, like, to get back to a peaceful society where everyone's views were kind of recognized and heard. Like, even before Barbie and Ken went into the real world, the only reason why Ken felt emasculated, if you will, was because she wasn't returning his interest. That is the only reason that kind of started his spiral once he got into the real world, because he just wanted to impress her and had feelings for her, which she didn't reciprocate, and he couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, there's one part, like, at that end part where I thought he was really about to kill himself. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, he's like, but you're right on. Obviously, they're playing on the toys because Ken was made for the Barbie toys, so hence why Ryan Gosling's Ken is like, in love. If she's not acknowledging me, then what's my purpose in life? And even, like, the beach off scene with, like, if he can't, he was like, if I can't beach off, like, what am I gonna?
What do I do?
What do I do?
Like, that's his sole identity. Like, and there's no other defining factor where, like, Barbie had other interests and other friends, whereas Ken was only focused in on one thing.
And they had different Barbies. Obviously, Margot played the stereotypical Barbie. They had, like, the president Barbie, like they had, like, the doctor Barbie, like, just a whole bunch of different Barbies. But when they went to the real world, because Margot's Barbie randomly during the first singing portion of the movie was just randomly was like, have you ever thought about dying? And everyone was just like, what? And then you see that she's being influenced by the relationship between a mother and her now teenage child, how the mother is feeling lonely because
her teenager's growing up
and not hanging out with her as much, so then her feelings are getting reciprocated to the Barbie has to come to the real world, and Barbie thinks it's first the daughter, goes to the school, and that daughter is not friendly at the beginning of the movie.
Well, it's also a play on the Bratz dolls. Like, if you catch their names, it's through the Bratz. It's funny.
But she took Margot to task, calling her a fascist, and that's what
Mhm.
set her off. And it's weird how as soon as Margot Robbie got to the real world, she was like, I'm feeling like these things, like people just randomly staring at me and all that. And then
Yeah,
the cat calls happened. We got a couple smacks on the butt. So then she went to jail, and then like,
right. And she went and asked for help by the guys, and she was treated poorly, and
mhm.
it was just bad.
It was so when she went to the real world, because they thought the Barbie stuff that
All the problems were solved,
as a Barbie world everything was utopia, and
and everything was equal, and there was no sexual harassment, no misogyny, like nothing like that.
you know, but in the real world, this all was very far from the truth. And like you said about Ken, he was getting acknowledged in the real world. It was
Right.
like, oh, someone asked me the time, like something that simple.
Right, and it just blew up in his head. And the horse trope made me laugh the whole time I was dying.
So then he goes back, and I wish we would have saw like how he was able to just get everyone to flip so easily, because I'm surprised like he just walked in there and like, oh, this, and this, and then
Everyone lost
changed.
their minds.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised no one was just like,
Well, Alan knew what's up.
well, Alan's the best character in the movie.
Oh,
Michael
absolutely.
Cera is fantastic as Alan, and someone tried to say that was a problem in the movie, that this movie about like, well, they're like, oh, this movie that's all about women empowerment, the best character is male. And I was just like, I don't know if that's really a slight at the movie. Alan was the best. He was hilarious.
He was fantastic.
He went because he also had a thing where he was just like, he didn't want to be a Ken.
Right.
Like,
he was just Alan. He was the only one made.
the only one made, and he again thrown to the wayside, and he didn't know who he wanted to like identify like with. So
Right.
and then like when they were trying to leave, he's like, oh, I'm never leaving this place. But he was great too. And then obviously you see Will Ferrell, who's the president of Mattel. And I think that scene was pretty telling too when Barbie finally gets to Mattel, because apparently in this real world, toys come from their toy world before. So
Yeah.
she asked like, "Oh, I want to talk to the CEO." Will Ferrell's like, "That's me." Oh, I want to talk to CFO. Gotta be CEO, COO, me. This is such. She's like, there's no women on the board.
Nope.
And then
it was all men.
And Will is like, all right, I know where you're gonna go with this, and then he goes into
his whole spiel,
and it's literally stereotypical.
Oh, absolutely.
Black suit, white shirt, black tie, like,
yeah, man dominated. Even like on the workforce, like truly, like in like the little cubicle area, it was all men.
And then also too, where they're just like, all right, just get in the box, and you'll be perfect again, because stereotypical Barbie was dealing with the getting cellulite for the first time,
right, and
like
being sad
and having the standing issue, like,
yeah,
body conscious was finally hitting the stereotypical Barbie, and she didn't know how to handle it.
Right, and she was no longer in that perfect little box that people put you in, so they were literally putting her back into the box to fit that mold. Like,
and I would also say too, with the Barbies who they shunned the weird
yes,
Barbies, so they shunned her for all this time, and then like she one of the main components that helped them get Barbie World back, and they apologize. Sorry, we made fun of you behind your back and to your face. It's like, well, that's a
they admitted it.
That's a thing too amongst groups of people and all that stuff. When when everyone's perfect and one person is not perfect, you tend to
pick up on that and shun it.
And shun them out of the thing. What do you think of all the like other underlining like tones? Obviously, it was like a satire that had like serious issues. And were there any parts where you were just like, I relate to that, like that's happened to me and stuff like that?
Ooh, that's a good one.
No, so you don't have to say anything if it's too personal, but if any of those.
Kind of related to the mom in some parts. Like, I'm not a parent, but like more so like on a friend level, like watching your friends like grow up around you as you're growing up, and then knowing that like nothing's going to be the same, and you're not as close as what you once were, and like missing those memories and things like that. And that's why you hold on to the little pieces that you do, like the mom's holding on to Barbie, and like that was her connection with her daughter, like when they were little, and she held all those memories. Like I feel like as adults, as we grow up, like we lose certain friends just with time and like distance and things like that. And sometimes it's difficult to let go because you still treasure all those memories. And you know, like if they were to reach out, like you would be there in an instant. But that's if they reach out. Like sometimes if you reach out, they may not always reciprocate it.
Yeah, and I would also say on that one, because that's a very good example to add to that. The only reason the daughter and the mom, I want to say, reconciled or understood each other or got a better relationship is because of this crisis of Barbie.
Right.
So it's just like what you said, the friend thing. Typically, friends don't come together unless it's potentially crisis, like a mutual person they know passed away, and that's when you're
like all of a sudden thrown back in.
Yeah, so it's like that's one of those things too in real life. It's like, oh, it shouldn't take a dramatic event to make two of these people understand each other. And the dad was completely oblivious and out of the picture, literally until like
the end
of the movie. And I was like, oh,
there he is.
That's the dad. Okay, that is something. Was there anything else in the movie that you related to on like, oh, this has happened to me before?
I mean, I think from a female perspective, like everyone's kind of experienced the realization that like you can't necessarily go up to groups of men and ask for directions without getting called or harassed or getting talked down to in a room, like in a meeting or something like that. Like everyone's kind of gone through that, or I've experienced it a few times in different situations. But I think the best part is when Barbies were infiltrating the Kens by sitting there and listening to the guitar song that they were singing and having to like put up with it. Because we've all experienced like, and vice versa, like some sort of version of a guy trying to show off, and you have to sit there and deal with it, and it's just embarrassing for you, for them, but they're fully committed, and you're just like, make it stop.
Their plan was
flawless.
It was something, but I was wondering, I was like, if they had one different male Ken in there who didn't care, how would the movie have turned out?
Right.
Like, let's just say, because I think they're all straight. Let's just say they have like one gay Ken. Like, how would that have planned? Like, if there was no gay characters, which it got banned in Vietnam, like it got banned in other countries because they said something about homosexuality, which I didn't see any in the movie. Between the
Kens, yes, all the Kens were like very much stereotypical straight men, like not masculine thing. Alan was the only one who was not questionable because we don't know how he affiliates, so he's just Alan, and that's okay.
So that's one thing I was interested in, but their plan was so stereotypical, but in a sense, it's again satire. But it is true, like the whole, just like you said, just listen and pay attention. Oh, the whole get the guy jealous by going to go talk to another guy. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm like, I've seen this song and dance so many times before.
So many times, and it's so embarrassing. Like I just.
There was now I'm trying to think of there was one specific part in the movie where I was just like, oh, now I have to think because there's so many
good parts.
There's so many good parts to the movie. I laughed about at the end of the movie where they're like, oh, let's just make a normal Barbie. And Will Ferrell was like, no, that's stupid. And the little lackey in the back is like, oh, they'll sell, make a lot of money. He's like,
done.
You're done. Which, for me, that made it relate to how, I don't want to call any specific companies out, but how a lot of these companies are fake in the sense that they'll see like an issue see what's like the popular vote of an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're like promoting it and doing all that stuff. But then once the issue's over or that, then
They just move on.
for example, like like Pride Month,
Oh,
the month of June.
Every single company is like, we love Pride, rainbow here.
But as
Like,
soon as the last day of June is over,
everything's 40% off.
yeah, switch.
Let's throw those products out. That's like that's what companies do. And like there's definitely companies out there who like will consistently donate and give back and are involved. But like the moment they are done with that month, it's over. The moment that the company Bud Light gets flack for a campaign that was honestly really great, they ditch it. And not to get like super crazy, but 2 Junes in a row now during Pride Month, the Supreme Court has made less than great decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, the abortion. This year, God, I can't even think because it's been such a dumpster fire.
It was like affirmative.
Like, yeah, affirmative action. Yeah. Like just 2 really bad decisions both in June. But hey.
Yeah, so like that company thing, like if it's gonna make us money, let's get behind it. If it's not gonna make us money,
done.
Let's not
well, and even
do it.
Mattel was nervous about the movie. Like,
yes,
Greta and Margot met with them multiple times over the course because they had to get everything approved. And there were points where Mattel was like ready to be done at certain aspects, and Greta and Margot, they were both like, if you don't put this in there, people won't take it as seriously or will drag you because of it. Like, you have to play into the humor of this and know that it'll be okay. And I think by them doing that and by having those conversations with Mattel, it just made the movie better. Because you could pick up on certain undertones of them falling things out, and it was the right move to make from both sides.
I think also too, like going into the movie, because I didn't read any spoilers, I had no idea what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because a lot of people were taking their kids like, oh, it's a movie about Barbie, like it's about the toys, and like, oh, maybe Barbie comes to the real world, and yada yada yada. You have no idea that there was going to be, like you said, like the serious undertones of the movie, like the plot of the movie. Then when you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, this is
real.
This is real. And I mean, like you said, Margot and Greta really fought hard for this movie. Fun fact, Margot was trying to actually get Gal Gadot to be Barbie, and not even herself. She was pushing.
But even before Margot, Amy Schumer almost had a shot, which would have been horrible. I would not have watched it.
Yeah, it's funny too how everyone's like, thank God
no,
she didn't.
It would have been bad.
Get that movie. I mean, Margot Robbie, obviously, I don't want to call it like her rookie year. No one's burst onto the scene like her. Obviously, Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
From that to then being Harley Quinn in DC, which is like her most famous role now. So you got Wolf of Wall Street. And there's stuff in between and all that. But then, like now Harley Quinn, now Barbie. Now she's shown she's a big deal because she's gonna make $50 million as of right now. She's making $50 million off of this movie.
Good for her.
And it's gonna get paid off to like her team and all of that. But $50 million as the leading lady and producer of the movie.
That's impressive. But like, I don't. Yes, even if you went into the movie blind, like not sure what to expect, I think it's kind of naive of people to not assume that there would have been undertones in the movie, especially like feminist undertones. One, knowing Greta Gerwig. Did we not watch? What's the name of the movie?
Pretty Woman.
Nope, the revenge one, where she like pretends to be drunk and lets guys almost take advantage of her, and then she teaches them a lesson.
That's a little dark, but
do you know what movie I'm talking about?
I know what movie you're talking about because I'm trying to think of, because I remember like Greta hasn't even done that many like big movies, and it's funny because I had like all the screenshots of all of my Barbie Oppenheimer tweets. I've been liking for the past month, but
Either way, I can't think of it. But she also did Pretty Woman. She did Lady Bird.
Yep.
Or not Pretty Woman, Little Women.
Mm-hmm. There's Lady Bird, Little Women, Nights and Weekends. Those are her at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then again, Barbie, 1 billion at the box office worldwide. Greta, first female solo director to reach 1 billion. Biggest opening for a movie in 2023. A on the cinema score. Certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Biggest film for Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. I do want to talk more about.
Before we move on, I also wanted to say Margot Robbie shouldn't have come as a surprise with what she was able to do with the Harley Quinn character, and just the scope in which she took her from being like a traditional like sex symbol
and she was in an abusive relationship with Joker her whole
to being written as a dimensional character. Like, it was amazing. Promising Young Woman. That's what the movie was.
But I do want to say something about Ryan Gosling, because I feel like the men in Hollywood, like, he's like an afterthought, especially like no one ever thinks, like, when you think of the first Ryan, you think of Reynolds.
Yeah.
Like, you just like, you never think of Gosling, but then if you look at Gosling has hits. Like, he was in there with obviously La La Land. I won a million Oscars a couple of years. Like, no, like the man.
Hot take, I didn't like that movie.
La La Land?
Yeah.
It's okay. That's fine. But I mean, it's just like, he's in all these movies, and it's like, I feel like he never gets like, and now he might get nominated for Best Supporting Actor and Best Original Song on Just Ken. So, which I think they should have saved that for the movie. They shouldn't have leaked that. They shouldn't have put that on the radio. No. That would have been even a bigger.
It was fantastic. And people were going around like saying, not my Ken, he's too old, he's too this, blah, blah, blah. And that was interesting to me, like, just to kind of watch, because it was almost just like, in every single superhero movie, they're always commenting about the women's pick. Like, she can't be Catwoman, she's not sexy enough. She can't be this, she's too old. Like, why is Angelina Jolie in an action movie again? Like, this, that, and the other thing. So it was just interesting to see how women were just like, he's not hot enough, he's not young enough, he's not this to be Ken. Like,
well, I'm not a girl, but I am going to say, if you're saying that Ryan Gosling wasn't hot enough to be Ken, then I would kind of want to check your standards at the door, because he looked phenomenal in the movie.
But also, there's different Kens. Everyone has different types.
They had a whole bunch of Kens in there.
Yeah, like, if you don't like blonde Gosling, you had a million other Kens to choose from. David Allen, like, or Barbie. You had other options. And, like, it's just a movie. Everyone's beautiful. They're 10 times prettier than all of us, so...
Well, not to those people who said that. I think it's also funny, too, because I think people are trying to do stuff to get clicks, because from the male perspective, there were some people on the internet, on the interweb, trying to get clicks, calling, as the kids say, calling Margot Robbie mid. And I was like, Harley Quinn? They're like, yep. Like,
the woman who had Leonardo DiCaprio, who were all on his knees. Granted, it was a movie, but, like, Margot Robbie is not mid.
I was just like, wow, we're really going crazy here now. The movie literally made a joke about, oh, if you wanted someone not beautiful to be in this thing, we shouldn't have cast Margot Robbie. So
yeah,
that was crazy.
Like, beauty's subjective at the end of the day.
That's very true, but there's some people where it's more consensus than subjective.
Absolutely.
And she's one of them.
Everyone in that cast 10 times hotter than me.
Well, don't sell yourself short. You know, they have, like, trainers and money.
They've got money, they've got trainers, they have chefs. I want a chef.
It's true, but
they
also
have people to do their laundry. That would be so nice.
Movie glow is different. And also fame. I mean, if you became super famous, then people would be like, "Oh my gosh, she's so attractive."
Right. It's like the perception of like she's well known, therefore, like
that
hot.
now that reminded me of the scene that really got my attention because of the famous chat. When she was asking, I don't know if it was when she was asking the construction workers for help or when she was in the jail, but one of those groups told Margot like, "Oh yeah, definitely fantasize about it, definitely keep the clothes on so we have more to fantasize."
Yes.
That's what I mean. That was a scene.
It was like, the police because she stole the clothes and they were like, "Oh, let her keep them."
So we can fantasize more. And I was just like, "Oh boy!" I was like, "Well, that is a thing."
It is a thing.
I think it's more a thing with real celebrities than Instagram fame, because Instagram fame is there because you're posting less clothes, but it's like,
right.
Oh, Margot Robbie, you've never seen it like this and this. Like that scene really got to me. I was like,
right.
that's a real thing.
I'll also like to bring up with like Instagram celebrities versus like not real celebrities. No,
traditional celebrities. I would say traditional.
I would say traditional / celebrity, and then Instagram celebrities that's just famous. Like if a celebrity's nudes get leaked, if X, Y, and Z happens, one, they're publicly humiliated and shamed. But two, a lot of their contracts and deals go goodbye. Even if they weren't the ones who leaked the picture, but it's the fact that the picture existed. And in some cases, society has changed, but I mean, Paige from WWE, like, there's been quite a few people who have lost opportunities because those pictures were leaked. But if a famous Instagram person, like, they make, not all, but a significant amount of people make their money on being nude or having the illusion of people seeing them fully nude. And it's just wild. And even some actresses, like, if they choose to do a nude scene in a movie for work, that can cost them on future roles because there's that, like, stigma there. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care what you do with your body. Sex work is real work. If you're making bank in either place, cool. The moment I have an issue is when it's not consensual. But, like, it's interesting to see how the different tiers of celebrity like, affects where you can be professionally.
I think with that too, with like, I'll stick with the movie people. It's funny too because I'm going completely off, but he was in this movie, so it makes sense. So John Cena, he had his thing with. He was a Ken maid when he became big. And funny story about that, the reason he even got in the movie is Margot Robbie was having, I think, dinner with one of her friends, or like her husband or whatnot, and like John Cena saw he was having dinner, and then Margot went to pay for the bill, and then the person said, "Oh, sorry, I can pay for it." And then it's like, she's like, "By who?" They're like, "Oh, by John Cena. He's over there." Yeah. So she asked me like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm filming something." She's like, "I'm filming Barbie. You want to be in Barbie?" And he was just like, "Yeah, sure."
Before you go on to what you have to say, seeing him in the movie was such a delightful surprise for me. I was so happy. It made me. I loved it.
He's something, but he said something about like, obviously because he's more on the acting side than the wrestling thing, but like if he gets hurt doing wrestling, that pushes like the production back, which pushes like all the normal people, like their money and all that stuff. So this thing, like an actor and actress, if they have a scandal and they have to either get rid of the person or decide like suspend or whatever, it pushes like the normal camera people back. They lose their money, like they lose. So that's why I mean, their stuff is more tied into like they're putting a whole production crew on there. Yeah. Back like someone on Instagram and all that stuff, which sometimes it helps their stuff, but it's not like they're providing food for hundreds of people.
Like they're just providing food for maybe immediate family and our friends.
So it's also, it doesn't get publicly shamed as much. Like if an Instagram person has a thing linked to like, all right, they did if someone like a celebrity, like let's say like Angelina Jolie, that thing is going to be on every news station, all of that, and everyone's going to try and get them before they get deleted, or like sell them. And
when Jennifer Lawrence's like and all of those celebrities like several years ago, like that was
That was big.
That was big and horrible. But then you have the same people shaming Kim Kardashian and saying that she only got her start because of that sex tape. And like, say what you want about her and the Kardashians, but like at least Kris and Kim, they've got that business and work ethic down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is she 100% a good human? But like, is she doing more than what every other Kardashian is doing? Absolutely. So like, it's just the different levels of what society deems as appropriate. Like, oh, you getting your start because of sex tape, let's shame you. But you're already a peak star in our eyes, and all of a sudden, like, your nudes got leaked. We're gonna protect you. And in both cases, it was not consensual. Like, both parts were revenge porn. In its key. Like, that's what's wild to me. Or Paris Hilton. Like, there's so many celebrities that we can talk about with it.
I think the one thing with Kim, though, is her issue is that even she won't admit or whatever the tape. Because I remember when her and Amber Rose were getting in a few, when she was in a few things, and like I think Chloe called her Amber Rose slut, and that just obviously set a whole bunch of people off because especially Amber Rose is like, all right, let's not forget that where all this fortune came from was from a sex tape, and now you guys want to slut shame other people. And then it's like, I think that's the thing with her. But I mean, she was not in Barbie, so
yeah,
obviously, but
she is going to be in American Horror Story.
Well, that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, all the people, and I think also with the success of Barbie, I think people are taking the wrong message because now they're just making so much money. Mattel that owns all the toys are like, we got to do more movies about toys. Let's do an Uno movie. I mean, I'm like,
Uno.
Yeah, there's like talks about like that and like all the board games, and I don't think that's the message. And I forget one actor said like the message should be like make more movies about women, which I agree on that too. But I don't even think that's the real. I think the real thing is when a studio has belief in a director, producer slash head actor of the movie, and they don't interfere. They don't interfere with the director's vision. They don't interfere with the lead actor's vision.
You can have gold. Yeah. Would I want to go see an Uno movie at first? No. But I said the same thing about Angry Birds, and I was wrong. Angry Birds is a cinematic masterpiece. So you never know.
Of course, they saw the billion, and now they're just like, gotta make a movie about all.
Well, and that goes back to our Taylor Swift like talk with oversaturation, because we touched on Polly Pocket and that potentially getting a movie. Same thing with Bratz, and I think there should be a pause before they really go. And truly, movies take time to make, and right now with this strike, like realistically, it's not going to be done for another 3 to 5 years, give or take. And will that be enough time? I think so. But like, if it came out back to back, similar to the Justin Timberlake, Mila Kunis, and then Ashton Kutcher, and
that was so terrible. They're the exact same.
It's copy and paste, literally so 2 months apart. Like, that's where I'm thinking. And like, if Polly Pocket comes out in 3 to 5 years, do I think it'll be a hit? Probably. I love my Polly Pockets, but I'm glad that it wasn't in the same pipeline, if you will.
And then obviously there's people talking about, like, since it's made so much money, first thing like, let's do a sequel. I don't think you can do a sequel to this. Like, what
else is going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, Barbie has a kid? No.
Well, I was curious, like the very last scene where
she goes to the guy now.
Well, at first I thought she was going for a job interview.
Yeah.
Like, to go be the new head person of Mattel. And then like she's like, I want to see a gynecologist. I was like, oh, that's a plot twist I was not. And then they go into the song, so I was like, I don't know what she's doing there, but
listen,
more power to you.
It's her first check.
That probably is true. I just was not like, I really thought like, to be head CEO and make things better and all that stuff. And I was just like, oh. So I don't know what they can do for a second movie. Like, I don't know who would be a bat. And I don't even know if there's any bad guys in this movie. It was just misunderstoodisms. Like, what would be the bad guy? Like, you have to get a bad guy.
I think the people who slapped her butt.
They are extras. They're not good. What are they gonna do? Choke the Barbie land?
But you never know.
That was actually kind of complicated to get to and from.
It was quite complicated, but it was amazing. The whole time it was amazing. I think if they were to do a sequel, I hope they don't because it was beautiful and I think it is a good standalone.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that it would pigeonhole a lot of the actors and actresses into that one trope. But I think if they kind of followed it like, you know, like American Girl, like the chicken noodle soup, books when you were little where it like teaches you about like growing up and like what's going on with your body, why are you feeling this way, like, oh, this is someone's life story, here's how they've handled it, like that type of thing. And if they did like a combo of all of those things, then it could be interesting. But I don't think it needs a sequel.
I don't either. I think it's good where it is. And I mean, this weekend, Barbenheimer opening weekend, and these two movies are going to be intertwined forever.
Oh,
Because they
absolutely.
both open on the same weekend, and they both are doing fantastic. Like, people, like movie theaters are like officially like, that's another thing. If you make a movie interesting, people are going to come.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I know, and these are two movies. Obviously, they had both movies.
Stellar
A
cast.
lot of people like star-studded cast, and also for the other. I'm gonna say the thing. There was a lot of people who have played, currently play superheroes, supervillains in any of these big movies. Obviously, Oppenheimer. I mean, one of the supporting characters who is Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. Then obviously here, there, but
You've got Elena.
yeah, like, but people talked about like, oh, people only go to the movie theaters for big like Marvel movie or DC or like a Disney remake or that. These are two. One's a autobiography. One is based off of toys.
Correct.
And
but I also
fantastic.
Like, because people were hoping big things for the Harry Styles, Florence Pugh, Olivia Wilde movie, and it was good. I saw it, but I think the drama of the movie overshadowed it, and that's the only reason why people even went. So I think cast, creators, and like media just need to focus on the movie itself, and then the rest will follow, type of a deal. And also, with bigger movies now, people need to learn etiquette when it comes to the theater. Across the board.
I also think the coolest thing about the Barbenheimer weekend is leading up to it, both studios supporting
Right, it was
the other,
so
like
cute.
Barbie and Margot and Greta holding their tickets to go to Oppenheimer, and like the promotions were perfect, like the pictures of Barbenheimer. It was just that I think was actually the best part of.
I agree.
Going
like it's just wholesome to see, and it just I don't know, it makes me really happy.
Anything else on Barbie?
I want to watch it again and again and again. Also, kudos to the theaters who like did specific promotions and like made it sparkly and fun. Me and a few of my friends, we went to Studio 35. Everything was pink. They had pink drinks like everywhere. They had just so many good photo ops, and just every worker there, like you could tell they were excited about it. Everyone dressed up. The people who lived in that area were just like cheering on everyone as they're walking up, because it just is such a cool idea. Like, I don't know, it's just fun to dress up.
Yeah. And again, Margot show now, she's, if you didn't believe she was a leading lady in Hollywood, I think
she's a class act.
Yeah, she's very good with fans. Like,
yeah,
she's up there, and we'll see what her, Greta, rest of the cast do next. So, Chelsea, what are we going to do next month or whatever we do? Is that the podcast you wanted to do with the others? There was one topic that you wanted to. Oh, the toxic, like masculinity, femininity. Is that your next one, or you got some in between ones you wanted to do before that?
I don't know. Maybe an in between one. This was not next month, September.
I mean, obviously, you're on your goal to try and be the number one person this year.
Hopefully, it'll happen. Support me. Love me. Tell me I'm pretty.
Oh, I also like how with the Barbie thing, to go back to one of your previous podcasts. Top top thing for all the rushing right now. It's rush season
Oh
now.
my god, it is rush
It's rush
season.
season. All the sororities using the Nicki Minaj Ice Spice Barbie song, all in pink. Like it's rush. So go
Yeah.
back to Bama Rush's pod. Like
Yes, absolutely.
this is their sororities are going to be using this, man.
Mhm.
And when this movie comes out on digital and DVD in
I
the
was
next
gonna
couple weeks.
crush rentals.
Oh, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, we have a sisterhood event. What do we want to do?
Barbie.
Let's watch Barbie. We're gonna have a mixer,
Oh,
another
yeah.
sorority. Let's just put Barbie on, have some drinks,
Oh.
dress up. Like that's gonna be the wave around the country in sorority life.
Once those rights for Barbie movie like to be shown in public, like at the park,
Mhm.
immediately every single Parks and Rec department is going to be buying that licensing
yeah.
right. Every single one.
Oh yeah,
Like it's gonna be fun.
there's gonna be a lot of mix. There's gonna be a lot of Barbie themed mixers.
Oh, easy. A lot of Barbie themed bachelorette parties,
Mhm.
birthday parties, everything.
I wonder how many little girls will
Dress
go
up
as
as
Barbie
Barbie.
for Halloween.
Well, that's the cool thing because they can literally dress up cute
Mhm.
and put a Barbie like name tag on,
Mhm.
and that's the easiest costume. And everyone will just go, "Hi, Barbie,
Yeah, that at the very
Barbie,
beginning.
Barbie." It's gonna be cute. I'm excited for that.
So, what are you gonna try and do these next couple months? You gonna wait on that one? You gonna
Ooh, I feel like we should do a fall themed one. We could talk about the rise of pumpkin spice
what? What?
because it's coming back in August.
Oh my gosh. Man, you don't be one of those people who you're going like hit for hit and then it just because like first one back was Rihanna coming back after 10 billion years, and then you went from that to Taylor Swift, and now you're at Barbie. You're like you're on a little run right now.
Right, don't wanna go too far into that.
And then going talking about some pumpkin spice, and it's just like, dang, we believe in this girl. Got time to listen to someone else. So.
But we could talk about the basic girl fall. I feel like that, like as a concept, could be interesting, not just pumpkin spice.
You gonna do that by yourself, or you gonna enlist people?
I feel like that would be good to enlist people.
Well, you're in charge of your own pod, so you can let us know.
I bet Byron would have some hot
Jesus
takes.
Christ. Well, he'll be editing this, so he'll be able to listen. If
Yeah.
you could take away your biggest takeaway from Barbie, what is it?
My biggest takeaway? There were a lot of takeaways.
You can only pick one
Why?
because it's biggest. So one biggest.
I think believing in your friends is one of the biggest takeaways because at its core, it's a girl's girl movie, and we've talked about being a girl's girl a lot.
Which I tried to tell you, Ariana Grande.
Not a girl.
You were trying. I
was trying to defend her.
I know my favorites when it's
But when you said that, somebody said that she's not a girl's
a
girl.
wife.
A wife, yes. That's when you know that you don't just say that someone's not a girl's girl. But my biggest takeaway is just like believing in your friends and knowing that things will work out if you have the people by your side. Because at the end, when Barbie kind of like takes a step back and she sees all the other Barbies like celebrating each other and like loving and like just taking in that moment, like knowing that like everything was okay because of the collective of them. That was it for me. What about you?
Biggest one, which we've already actually said, but I'm gonna stick with it because of obviously like real world stuff and like seeing people I know. You don't need a relationship to validate your existence.
Yes.
It's okay to be single and happy. It's okay to be in a relationship and happy. It's okay to be dating happy, or if you have kids and happy, or if you don't want kids and happy. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Like on his sweatshirt, which I'm pretty sure they can sell, he is enough. Like
Enough.
You are enough. You don't need those specific things, especially a relationship, because there's a lot of people, especially when you get older,
Mhm.
that like when you see other people in relationships, you feel less validated that you're not, which shouldn't be the case. So
Yeah.
you shouldn't need a relationship to validate your existence and who you are.
Here.
And with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you like, rate, comment, subscribe, and listen to all of Chelsea's episodes. She's actually been doing a good amount this year, so we are proud of her. And at the end of the year in December, we're going to see
Who comes out?
who comes out. I'm pretty sure she'll definitely be in the top 10, top 5. Number 1, I don't know, because there's
a lot of really great people.
a lot of great people, but I know for a fact she will definitely be in the top 10 at minimum. So,
Heck yeah.
that being said, L7C podcast is signing out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.